The following podcast contains adult themes and adult language. Listener discretion advised.
And although we joke, if you or someone you know is affected by or a victim of domestic violence, dial 1-800-799-7233 or visit the National Domestic Violence Hotline's website, thehotline.org.
But it's always the husband, it's always the husband, it's always the husband. I'm gonna keep it.
Hey, everybody. This is Sarah.
And this is Megan.
And you are listening to It's Always the Husband podcast.
Welcome.
Yes, we are back from a 1 week break.
Yeah, we had a 1 week hiatus.
Yes.
On the farm.
We were on the farm doing farm work that farm gals do. Laura Ingalls did it. Pa did it. Ma did it.
And now
Mary
we did
didn't
it.
do shit.
No, well, she was blind.
Well, she wasn't blind all the time.
Well,
Carrie didn't do shit. She just fell in a well.
She was a baby. But we did it. We put up fence and you chased sheep.
I chased sheep
into the new grazing pasture.
I did. Harvey helped.
Yep.
He
and
did
then
a lot of the work.
I just sat on the side by side and waited.
Because you were hammered and Cassie and I were high as a kite. So Hannah was not really pleased with her workers.
But it was a good time.
It was very fun.
It was a good time.
Yeah. It was very fun. Farm life.
I love farm life, and I would like to encourage anyone who is in Minnesota to take advantage of my sister's farm. This is a shameless plug. It's called Medicine Creek Farm.
Yeah.
Look it up. And then when you get to the website on the interwebs, you go to the farm stay and you fucking book it.
And then you stay in a lovely...
It's so nice,
home.
isn't it?
It is super nice.
Yeah.
And I slept like a baby.
I know.
And I have severe insomnia.
Well, now you know what your insomnia is.
Yeah.
It's Jamie and your dogs.
Yeah. Of course.
Did you sleep last night?
No,
of course not. But
because my dogs have night terrors.
Yeah.
And scream all the night. And Jamie has a wang.
Yeah. And it pokes you.
Yeah.
And you had your own bed.
Uh-huh.
Clean linens.
Oh, lovely.
In a peaceful setting.
Yeah. It was
with
wonderful.
a fan blowing
the
cool semi-northern Minnesota air. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, it was just wonderful, and I love it there.
It was lovely.
You did have to hit it and kick it.
I hit it and kick it. But at the same time as Annette Bar kicked it and hit it.
She can't do nothing.
That's true.
Like, I can sit and read a book. Like, when you guys left, I read a whole book.
Yeah, you did. It's peaceful to read a book there.
Yeah. And
I read a book, too, in the morning.
But, I mean, you didn't even wake up at the crack of dawn.
I didn't. I slept.
One day you slept until 8:30 or something.
I know.
Yeah. That never happens.
It works wonders, farm life.
When we go on girls' weekends, you're literally up at 5:30.
Mm-hmm. Fretting about.
Yeah. Trying to make yourself not go home.
I do.
Yeah. I know. And so we had a fun time. Thanks for giving us a week. We're
Hannah
back.
was a glorious hostess.
Yes. So look that up. Medicine Creek Farm. Do the farm stay. If you want to be dumb, you can do the camper trailer, but then you don't have indoor water amenities and you like have to camp.
Yeah, no.
We like indoor plumbing.
Yeah, you like to shit in a toilet.
We sure do. And we like to make food.
Yeah. Good food.
Yes. And we like refrigerators.
Yes. For the booze.
Yep, we do. Okay.
We do have a Patreon, and we plan to get an episode. They say every time, next time, a new one.
We're going to have to do it this weekend because next weekend
we have the farm party.
The farm party. Yeah.
So we'll have to do it next weekend.
Yeah.
Because I have nothing going on next weekend, I think. Tammy Clark. Tammy Clark. Thank you, Tammy Clark.
Tammy.
Tammy Clark.
Bitch, Tammy.
Yep. She did it. She's a Patreon. She can listen to all our special episodes about all different kinds of shit.
Yes, I can't wait.
Welcome, Tammy. We also, should we do our glitter in the shitter
Yeah,
since yours
let's do it.
kind of has to do with the farm? My glitter in the shitter to get me through the week was eating grapes. Grapes this time of year are perfect because they're flavorful and firm, and that's how I like my grapes.
I like
they're
a
very
hard
firm.
grape,
A haired grape.
A hard red grape.
Red grape. There's
Yeah.
nothing better. And it's cold. Make it real cold.
Yep.
You don't have to freeze them like what's her name, Posh Spice, because she only eats one frozen grape a day.
Oh my God.
But you can get them real cold. A haired red grape.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you want to eat.
I love them too. I'll go get some when I get paid on Friday.
Yes.
I am destitute
I know.
this week. My husband started a new job. Fucking sweet ass body, hard body Phil got a new job, so he's not going to be schlepping packages anymore. He is now
Is
working.
he a male escort?
He is, yeah. It's going well, and so I hope it brings in the money. But
I hope so.
We're in a weird place where he used to get paid every week, and now he gets paid every 2 weeks. So we're like 1 week short.
And that blows.
Yes. And so all the shit keeps coming out of our account. And I'm like, no more. No.
And there's
then
nothing
I look
going
the next
in.
day. Yeah. Yeah. On Friday, we'll be all caught up.
Yeah.
But this week is like our stretch week. We're dying. So I can't remember why I said that. I don't know. Oh, I'm so poor. That's why I took a vacation at my sister's farm, because I didn't have to pay. And we played marbles.
We did. And it was a hell of a lot of fun.
We played marbles. So many fucking games of marbles.
Hours of marbles.
Hours of marbles. While Rory read a book series called Barb. We're not kidding you.
Barb the Barbarian.
It's cute though.
Barb kicked ass.
Yeah, Bear Book 1, Bear Book 2, and Bear Book 3. So if you have kids who are in 3rd or 4th grade, you should look up the Barb series. But he read Barb and we played marbles. So if you don't know, I put the video of us just demolishing Cassie. But if you don't know, marbles is kind of like Trouble. It's actually, the game is actually called Aggravation, except my family's never called it that. We just always call it marbles.
Yeah.
And we always have. And my great grandpa Olson made a marble game, and it had like Formica, like countertop. That's what the top is. And then he carved little marble holes. And so that's what we always used. We played that at grandma's, and my mom now has that. And that's what we play at Olsen Girls Weekend. And we brought it to the farm and we played marbles. And it's so fun. And then we all got home from the farm. And on Friday night, Cassie was like, does anyone want to play marbles? Well, actually, she said, does anyone want to play Barbies?
Yeah.
And then
I thought,
you were like,
do it,
Barbies.
but I'm not sure why.
And that's what marbles.
Yeah. Marbles
auto-corrected to Barbies. But then we all went over, we played a game of marbles.
And it was fun.
It was fun.
Because the swears pour out of my mouth.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
It is fun. There's something satisfying about the sound that the marbles make.
And getting revenge on your opponent once they crush your balls and put them back at
and
home.
rolling the dice.
Yeah.
So that's my glitter in the shitter. I've loved it forever. You can get a homemade board, but you can also get them on Amazon and Etsy. I actually got my marble board on Etsy.
It's lovely.
Yeah. And it's a 2-sided board.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
It is fun.
Yep. Love it.
And we also have social media.
We do.
Instagram, Facebook. We have a Facebook group. The people in our group are fabulous. Not only do people put things on for advice, and people give amazing advice, they also put stuff that will make you laugh Or if you say I'm having a really bad day, people will put a bunch of stuff to cheer you up. And
Yeah.
they put really gross stuff and it makes you laugh. And I love all of it. And then we like to just pick some of our, I mean, they're
Favorites.
all awesome. It's so hard to pick.
Yeah, like
Paired.
every time I open my Facebook app, there's something that makes me laugh.
Oh my
or
God,
I'm like,
it's so
oh my
good.
God.
It makes me so happy that we have that.
Yeah.
That's there. And people put that stuff there.
I know, me too.
But I picked for my Facebook funny something that I think made a massive impact. And at the farm, we definitely laughed about it for like 2 hours because Nut Bar really used this measurement system in her own life. That's as far as I'll go.
Yeah.
But Danielle Marie, way back on August 16th, and it had a 667 post reach. So that's many people looked at it.
Oh, yeah.
She put a lovely penis measurement system that used not many, I mean, some words that weren't real measurement words,
Yeah,
but they're
yeah.
okay. The micro penis was the smallest,
Yeah.
7 centimeters. And I said, Jamie wishes
Yeah.
7
If
centimeters.
only he could get to 7.
Tiny was 3 inches. And then there were pictures of each weighing drawn out. Small is 4 inches. Average was 5 inches. Nice was 6 inches. And big was 7 inches. And then it didn't continue. But I wonder if it did continue. And the picture just didn't continue on.
Like massive.
Like massive or something. I'm curious now to really see if it continued
I
on.
know. But we used noise.
We said
Played
noise
marbles.
all the time
Yeah.
for quite a while after
Yeah.
that. And nice is just the 6-incher, not even the
Yeah.
big.
I liked that one too.
Because we also used my nude male playing cards to entertain us. And those were absolutely foul. And then Hannah, who was a sweet innocent,
Yeah.
we forced her to look at the nude male playing cards.
Yeah, she died.
and
inside.
she was offended.
Yeah.
And
She-
horrified and traumatized.
Her soul died
because
a little
sometimes you could see the butthole.
bit. You could, and it was inappropriate.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah. And
But I
sometimes
love
you're
that
like,
one.
why are you on a male playing card? That is a micro.
Yeah, there were very small penises on there. And then penises that were like, that's too big.
Yeah. They went even past the big.
Yeah,
on the
they were
penis
way too
measuring.
big.
My favorite one is all about social media because I'm finding it hard lately. It's hard. The everything going on with the world and the frickin' election.
Yeah.
It's hard. And then you have these bitches who post like, look at me and what I made for dinner. And so my favorite one was from Charlorne Libby. She told us all to have a happy Sunday, bitches. And the post was, no one gives a shit how far you ran today or what you cooked for dinner. Grow up and get drunk like the rest of us.
Love it.
And I thought, amen to that.
You know what? Because no one does give a shit about what you cooked for dinner. Why are you putting it on Facebook? Send it to maybe your best friend who might say,
Yeah.
good job.
When you guys were like, why aren't you here to play Barbies? I was like, I sent you a picture
Yeah.
of my ground beef because I'm like, this is the stage I'm at.
Right. Send it to us.
I'm
'cause
going to
then
be
that makes
there in a
sense.
second.
You didn't
but
have
I'm
to put
not
it
going
on
to post
Facebook.
it on Facebook
Yeah.
and be like, look at me browning
Because
ground
we
beef.
understand what you're doing. Nobody else would care.
Yeah.
That's
can't.
a good one.
Also, did you see Kayla Marie posted that guy running the something? He was like running the 100-meter dash or something. Or maybe it was the 40. And his dong was unreal.
I didn't see that dong.
Okay, well, look for it. It's Kayla Marie.
All right.
Yeah.
He
And
didn't
she's-
like tape the dong down.
She said that ever since she started following us, this is what comes to her feed.
Of course.
And
we're
that is
sorry.
a phenomenon that has
We
happened.
don't mean it, but yes, you will get dongs
And weird
all over your social media, and we're sorry.
weird Temu things.
Yes.
And
Like
we're
penis clamps.
sorry, but not sorry. because that's who we are.
You will get dongs that fly about in sweatpants.
Who
nonstop.
else we are readers, obviously.
Yes.
We read books, and we have a book
We
club.
read a lot. Yeah.
And so our book club is actually, well, it depends on when you listen to it. It's Tuesday, August 27th. So that could be tomorrow or today, depending on when you listen to it, or maybe last week or 2 weeks ago if you're listening, if you're catching up. But it'll be on the 27th. It's at 7:30 Central Standard Time. So figure it out wherever you are at.
Chicago time, right?
Because we can't figure it out for you. We read The Good Lie by A.R. Torrey, and I finished it last week, and I liked it, so I can't wait to talk about it. And then we do have September's picked out, so go to your library and put it on hold. It's called The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell, and I've already finished that one too. Bam, bitches!
Yep.
So I'm ready to talk about it. And then we are getting the next list set up, so we'll
be up
post that
this week.
soon.
The next 5.
Yes, perfect. Okay, so join us if you want to just talk about the book, or if you want to just chat with Sarah or me,
hang out
and meet some cool people. We've become kind of we are our own little thing. So pop on and say hi and make some new friends. And we do spoil the book. So, and we're not sorry about it. But join us. Okay.
All right. Should we start?
Let's
start. What we do is we watch an episode of a true crime show and we retell that episode. And sometimes we rip on the episode actors and how they tell the crime.
Sometimes we do.
And sometimes we rip on, many times, the husband, because the husband is usually a massive piece of shit.
The husband did it.
And they should be ripped on.
Yeah.
So this is a show I had never seen called Grave Mysteries. Have you watched Grave Mysteries?
No, I've never seen it before.
So Grave Mysteries is a lot like Betrayed, kind of. Yeah.
I thought the same thing. Yeah. And I love Betrayed.
I love Betrayed, too.
Yeah. I think Betrayed is better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the narrator in Betrayed is the deceased. And I like that angle.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like The Lovely Bones.
Yes.
That book. Yeah.
And that book, God, that rips your soul out. Just shreds it.
That's a rough one.
It's where the dead tell their tale. Yeah. That is the motto or theme of Grave Mysteries. So this is season 1, episode 4, Hidden Truth.
Yeah.
Or Truths.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going all the way back to August 2000. We're in Seattle, Washington, and we see Anastasia King. Mm-hmm. So Anastasia King, she lives in a lovely area, I'm assuming, around Washington. It's called Mount Lake Terrace.
It looked gorgeous.
Of course.
Yeah.
And she moved there in 1998, and she is originally from Kyrgyzstan.
Yep.
And we see, first of all, we hear from her former coworker and pretty good friend.
Yes.
Her name is Patty Swayze, or actually Swaney, but I call her Patty Swayze in the whole show. And Patty Swayze says, Anastasia was pretty busy, so she worked in a restaurant with Patty Swayze, and she was going to school 5 days a week. Mm-hmm. And she was new to the U.S.
She was very young.
Very, very young.
20?
Yeah, 20. And she came when she was 18.
Yeah.
And she loved being in the United States. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Like the U.S. culture, she wanted to be all things U.S.
American.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, the actresses and actors that portrayed the real people were actually very close.
I 100% agree.
The Anastasia actress was very close to the real Anastasia. They looked very much alike. So Patty Swayze described Anastasia as ambitious, hardworking, very beautiful, which she was. Again, very young at 20 years old and very far away from her parents. They were still in Kyrgyzstan and did not speak English. They didn't, they were speaking Russian. But she did go back to visit. It seemed like she did go back for a few visits.
She tried to,
often.
yeah.
Um,
And she was able to keep in touch with
Yes.
her parents.
I think through email.
There was
and
a
calls.
real, right? Like, she really wanted to be American. She really wanted this, and her parents wanted it too.
Yes.
They wanted her to have a better life than what they had.
in America.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But she still loved her parents and still
Yes.
missed her family, missed that culture. So there was right? Like,
yes.
it was really hard.
She was lonely
Yeah.
for her family and everything she grew up knowing, because the only quote family she had in the United States was her Prince Charming, handsome Henry Cavill looking husband. And his name was
I mean, even the name is ugly.
Indle, Indle, Indle King.
Indle.
And I am joking when I say handsome, as you know by now, if you know me.
He didn't look like Henry Cavill?
No.
Oh.
As I described to Megan, he looked like if you took Violet Beauregard from Willy Wonka.
After she
The first Willy Wonka.
blew up, yeah.
After she ate the gum of the...
Yeah.
And he was a circle and just had the arms sticking out and the feet attached.
and a head
And a head at the top.
with glasses.
With glasses and kind of a bald.
And a bald.
And then a face that was like a wildebeest. He looked like a troll that lived in a troll village underneath a bridge. He was mayor of Troll Village under bridge.
Yep.
So they have now Indle King said he was a former college professor.
Indle.
And I don't...
What the hell kind of a name is Indle?
I don't know. I think the mom maybe had maybe a diarrhea fit and was coughing, and they thought that was what she named him.
She was in the hospital. She said, "Give me my Kindle."
Yeah.
And then they said, "Oh, Indle.
Yeah.
What a great name." That's even too dumb.
I know.
It is a dumb name.
So Anastasia decides she wants to go visit her parents again.
Yeah.
And Indle says he's not going to join her. And she's like, okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll miss you.
And here's where they show
But
a
I'm
real
still
full
going.
photo of Anastasia. She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And they show Indle. And that's where you scream. You scream at God and you say, no, why did you give me eyes? Why have I been given eyes to see this creature? And you give your fingernails into your eye and you rip up your eyeballs and you eat them. And then you pound at the ground and you cry and you reach up to the sky and you scream. That's what happens when you look at his photo.
Because until you've watched the whole episode, you don't really know if their character actors are spot on, right?
Right.
Like, we've already told you
Yes.
that they were, but that's because we watched the whole
And-
episode. But this is what,
Yeah.
like, the person playing Indle is freaking alarmingly ugly.
Yes. And
And then when you see the real Indle, you're like, oh my God.
when you see the real Indle, you want to
Same.
take a flame to your eyeballs. And you also want to then just burn all the genitals on Earth so no other babies can be born, so no other Indle can ever be born again. So you run with a flamethrower and burn genitals like the wind.
No.
And that is your life's mission. To burn penises and vaginas for the rest of your days so an Indle cannot be born. Because of his ugly appearance. I mean, God, that's mean to say, right?
It is.
But come on.
It's being.
You, and then when you're at the state
ain't a
fair,
lie.
when you're at the state fair and you see an Indle that is an absolute swamp monster, and you see an Anastasia that's a gorgeous 20-year-old, you know what's up.
Yeah.
You know he paid for her in a catalog.
Yes, 100%. But this show didn't tell us this for a long
I
time.
know.
So I was like,
Yep.
I had an inkling.
Yes.
But
you know when you see that, you're like, something's here is off.
because not only was his body and face offensive, but his age was offensive. Yeah.
And you could be Nicole. what's her name?
Who?
That married Howard. Nicole Smith or whatever.
Oh, that married Howard. Howard something the third.
Yeah, that passed, and she
Anna
had his
Nicole
ash-
Smith.
Anna Nicole
Yeah,
Smith.
Yeah.
But that was for money.
Yeah.
Anyway.
This was for a trip to America.
Yeah. But I know I don't blame her.
No.
Now, October 2nd, 2000, the Mount Lake Terrace Police get a call. And so we meet Detective Julie Jameson, and she gets a call from Kyrgyzstan on behalf of Anastasia's parents. So this man that her parents know is calling the police to say that Anastasia King lives in the area,
right,
and he's calling on behalf of her parents, and Anastasia is missing. She had recently visited her parents in their small hometown. She showed up to the trip. She visited them. Her husband, Indle, showed up a few weeks later into the trip to surprise Anastasia in her small village. And that's where they started showing some home video, some real video. And the video is extremely odd, uncomfortable. It's like if you were at a club dancing and that, what's on Sesame Street, that giant, big, hairy, brown monster?
Snuffleupagus?
No, the one that walks on 2 feet. And he's super hairy.
Hairy monster?
Yeah, and he's tall and hairy, and he walks on 2 feet, and he's always grumpy.
His name is Harry.
Yeah. If he started violently dancing with you and raping you, that's what it looked like when Indle tried to dance with Anastasia for fun. It looked awkward and horrible. And he's dancing with her and saying, I love my wife, and kissing her on the cheek. And she's looking like she wants to throw up and have diarrhea from her anus.
That's legitimate. He kept saying that. Oh, I love my wife. And they were like outside in the mountains.
And he was spinning her around, and she was like, get me away from him.
Ugh.
And it was so awkward.
But they kept doing it.
And so this was like during September. She's visiting. Indle was not supposed to come. Indle surprises her into her visit. September 22nd, the parents tell the detective through their interpreter that they drop her off at the airport, both the couple, Indle and Anastasia, and they get on a plane and they fly to Moscow. And Anastasia was going to call when she got the trip from Moscow back to Seattle.
Right.
Anastasia never calls back. So over the next week or so from September 22nd to October 2nd, they are calling her again and again and again and again and again, and they are getting nothing. So then they call and Indle answers. Indle says, Anastasia just stayed in Moscow. She didn't come on the plane with me. And the parents are like, what? She would have called us. She would have told us. What are you talking about? And so they're totally confused. And so they're asking the police, can you please find our daughter or look into this for us? So the police are like, yes, of course. Okay, we'll go talk to Indle. We'll figure out where your daughter is or if she is in the home or where she is. So the police go talk to Indle King, and they go to Indle and they notice that he is like, they live in a lovely home. It looks like a lovely home. And it
does. Yeah.
And he, they know that Anastasia is like a 20-year-old, and Indle looks to be 140. And he pulled the rock off of his back that he was sleeping under and answers the door. Indle, tells the police to come in, and the police say, we're here because your wife's parents are very worried about her. They, haven't heard from her since they dropped you off, at the airport. And so Indle says, we got in a fight in Moscow airport. She walked away from me, and I never saw her again. And the police are like, oh, well, okay. Like,
okay.
What do you mean? And then he's like, well, we're going for a rough patch, and I guess she needed some distance. I mean, but you don't just separate in another country and not talk for like 12 days. That's a big distance.
I know.
And then if she needs to come home, she wouldn't just blow on her $1,000 ticket or something to Seattle. Where is she going to get the money to do that again? I mean, so the police are like, what?
Right.
And so then they said, well, can you tell us about, your relationship? And he says, well, we met through a marriage brokerage agency. So the police are like, so she's a Russian mail order bride.
Yeah.
And so Indle explains, well, I picked Anastasia through online catalog. And what Anastasia says is that, yes, they show him in the reenactment looking through online through all these different women, and he looks like a gross troll that has one hand on the mouse and the other hand is jerking it on his wang.
100%.
And I felt so gross that men are allowed to pick a woman and buy her, and she is sent to his home for him to do whatever he wants with. And the woman might not be able to speak his language. That makes me scared. That makes me horrified.
Yeah.
But Anastasia, though, said they had back and forth.
Yes.
Where she could speak English just fine. His letters to her, she said, were very sweet, romantic, charming. But Ted Bundy also was sweet and romantic and charming with some gals.
Yeah. I was alarmed, but then I was more alarmed when I found out that he visited her several times before she actually said yes. So it wasn't like she thought it was fucking Henry Cavill writing her and then being like, I love this guy. And he sent her a fake picture. She really knew what he looked like.
He had visited and she
how
saw him
old
and
he
smelled
was.
him.
And she and her parents
approved. Yes, they courted for
they did.
months. Indle did visit Anastasia's town, and her family approved. So they get married. She goes to Seattle. She's 20. He's far over 40.
Yep.
And at first, her friends say they seemed to be in love. And you know what? If that is true at the beginning, okay, good. You know what? If that's like an online, you can have an online relationship that is long distance and you meet like that, and you can have a lovely relationship. And that can be fabulous. Some people meet like that and have a love relationship that lasts a long time.
Right.
Indle soon learns, though, that Anastasia, as anybody would in this situation, starts to get homesick. She's missing her friends because she is, as anybody would when you're in another country that's totally a different culture than you're used to.
Yes.
And you have none of your friends or family. But she starts working at this restaurant and she gets very close with some of the ladies that work there. She starts feeling better because she's made some friends. When you go off to college and you don't have any of your friends, you feel that way,
of course.
until you start making
you get
your friends.
homesick. Yeah.
But then he notices she's hanging out with a bunch of girls that are 20-something and not him. Well, I hang out with my friends that are 40-something, 50-something and not my husband. And
right.
If I hang out with my husband, it's different than when I go on girls' trips with my friends. But Indle was like, she's not hanging out with me and doing everything with me. She's hanging out with friends. Well, that's what a wife might do sometimes, Indle.
A wife might.
She might some friends.
She might want girlfriends.
And not just to hang out with a round Veruca Salt. In a troll bridge mayor. So he was getting pissed at her
and
for
also,
not giving him all her attention.
How old she is.
Yes, she should be partying at a bar.
20.
Yeah.
She can't even get into a bar yet.
She can't. I mean, she could party in her country, I'm sure.
Yes, but that's when you want to have girlfriends.
Yes.
When you're 20.
Of course. And talk about hot guys, and she'll be like,
yeah.
I have a hot guy. He's my 50-year-old husband, Indle. No.
No.
Now, his surprise visit to Kyrgyzstan was Indle's way to try to win her back because he felt that she was trying to pull away from him.
He felt her leaving.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he thought, if I go and try to win her over and convince her parents that I love her so much, she'll come back to me. Now, in the video, again, of him spinning her around and saying, I love my wife, my wife, he's wearing the shittiest pair of transitions I've ever seen in my life because they are round transitions.
Yeah.
He looks like Newman from Seinfeld.
Yes. His
exactly.
shirts are like sort of bowling
Yes.
shirt-like, but not. Like they're button down.
I can't
and they
even
have a
with this
different
man.
color of collar than their shirt. I don't know.
So now police are realizing that Anastasia is just gone and she's not called anyone. There's no emails. There's no contact
Right.
at all. They're finding no clues and they decide they're going to search the house, but they don't see any disturbances around the house.
Mm-hmm.
They want to talk to her friend. So they talk to a friend called Tatiana Bolin.
Mm-hmm.
And they also learn from her husband Indle that a man named Daniel Larson also is a tenant in their home. And Daniel Larson is a hardcore pedophile that fucks kids.
Convicted sex offender.
Yes.
Yep.
And so since he's a convicted sex offender that fucks kids, Daniel Larson finds it hard to find a place to live. But
does.
Indle says, hey, buddy, you can live with me and my 20-year-old wife.
No problem.
So the police feel like they have some people to talk to. So they talk to Tatiana, who was in her school classes that she took 5 days
Yes.
a week. So Tatiana says, oh, hey, yeah, I know her. She's my friend in class. Anastasia said she was going to go visit her parents, but she was going to be back when class started again on September 25th, but she never came to class. So the police were like, oh, and they're like, do you know anything? Did she tell you anything that you might think would make her want to stay there? And she said, well, she might want to stay with her boyfriend, Sasha, that lived in Russia. They're like, who? What? Huh?
Yeah.
And then she says, well, Sasha was a businessman from Russia, but she met him in Seattle and they're madly in love. So police are like, oh, holy shit. Yeah, that could be something.
Yes.
So Sasha has family in Russia, but he was doing business in Seattle. They somehow met. And since they're both Russian, she was excited to speak Russian with this guy. And they just hit it off right away. And when Anastasia would go visit her family, she would always spend time with Sasha.
Yes.
And they would, I guess...
Pork,
yeah. And I mean, and they showed a picture of him and he just looked like a normal 20-something. Cute. Yeah. And then she would return to Indle and go, oh, shit. What the hell? And she would get sad. And Anastasia often got so depressed that she actually attempted
she did
suicide and slit her wrists.
Yes.
So now the police are thinking, could she have just decided Indle was fucked and she's just going to stay with Sasha and pork a hot dude and say, fuck it. But Tatiana said, one last thing. She also does have a safe deposit box where she has a bunch of her shit in it and it's near the University of Washington. So the police want to get in this safe deposit box, but they need a warrant. So they go file for that. In the meantime, they talk to Sasha. Yep. And Sasha says, yes, I'm porking her, but I haven't seen or heard from her in a long time. And they believe him. And just because he sounds sincere, and they feel like Anastasia is not in Moscow. So then they decide to check on the pedophile.
So the whole time I was thinking, why can't they just check to see what fucking flight if she was on the flight or not, which they come to later. But I was like,
that's
why
what I was
is this
thinking
so hard?
Too. Why didn't they check that immediately?
But then they did say it was pre 9/11, so people weren't like so psycho about who was on flights or whatever. I mean, they did eventually, but I was just like,
I thought, do that right away and say, call him a liar.
Yes, this could have been done right away.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
So they go to the pedophile, Daniel, and they go into the house and knock on his door. Or no, first of all, they look up his police record, and it's extensive. He has theft, child molestation, convicted of child molestation. Yeah. He's a registered sex offender. And then they ask her friends, what do you think of Daniel? And Anastasia's friends are like, well, she thought he was a creeped out fucker. You know, he's gross. So the police talked to Daniel, and he had been living there for several months. And they said, well, when did you last saw her? And he said, well, I saw her before she went on her trip, and then I didn't see her again. And he looks like a greasy fool in the reenactment. So now the police are like, well, let's check. Did Anastasia go home on the same flight as her husband? And there were no seat assignments. And it was very difficult to see the flight manifest or whatever. It took a while to get that. But in the meantime, the judge grants the warrant to get the safe deposit box. So when they get the safe deposit box, they see that there's $2,500 in cash in there, a bunch of jewelry. And they wondered, well, if she was going to go to Russia and pork Sasha, why didn't she take that? They find a diary in Russian. So they send that out to get translated. They also find a bunch of emails saying that she wanted to get divorced, but wanted to find a way to extend her visa without being married.
Yes. So she had done the work. Let's be real. She did. Yeah.
So she says, I want to stay in America. I still want to be without Indle giving me sponsorship because he's a dick. And then they find a card in the box that says, if anything happens to me, call Patty Swayze. And then the number is on the card.
Yes.
So then they talk to Patty Swayze, her restaurant friend, and Patty says, what did he do? What did Indle do? Because they tell her she's missing for all this time. And so Patty says Indle is bad. He's a liar. He said he's wealthy, but he's poor as shit. He's a controlling manipulator. He's domineering. She wasn't allowed to use the phone unless it was under his permission. He would lock her in her room every single night. She couldn't go anywhere. He would threaten her. He would take her money. And he would threaten her visa. He would threaten to send her back. He threatened her with everything. So Anastasia filed for divorce. And she planned her trip, I think, to just get away from him for a while and see her parents, and then was terrified when he shows up there in her village because she was trying to get away from him, and she was totally frightened. And then they finally get the diary translated, and it confirms everything that Patty Swayze said, that she was having this terrible abuse by Indle, and she was terrified. So the police go back and search Indle's house with a search warrant again, and they get his computer and his home movies. They find out Indle was actually married before to another Russian mail-order bride.
No!
And this Russian order mail bride divorced him because he's fucking gross.
Yeah.
And a butthole. A dirty butthole.
A dirty butthole.
And then he was all mad and said, she used me for a green card. Well, duh. Are you thinking these beautiful Russian women are marrying you for your personality and your looks?
No, Indle.
And your money that you don't have? Are you nuts? What in the hell is wrong with your brain? My God. Have some, look inside yourself.
So dumb.
Be self-aware. You are buying a woman on the internet, sir. Be aware that you cannot find a woman in the grocery store or on the street.
No, that shouldn't have been shocking at all.
Oh, but while all this was happening, Indle was looking for his third Russian mail order bride at the same time. He was trying to divorce Anastasia. But then his divorce papers said she was already missing before she was missing. His divorce document said September 8th, 2 weeks before she even disappeared. So the police are like, oh, he planned to murder her.
Right.
And set all this up. So police learned that he's actually was going back and forth visiting the child molester kid porker, Daniel
Yeah.
Larson.
Yeah.
So they go to Daniel Larson, who was in jail for trying to pork a young kid at a local mall, and he got pulled back into jail.
Yeah.
So police say, why is Indle in here talking to you in jail? And Daniel goes, and then he finally cracks and tells the whole story. And he says, I know where she's buried. And so they take him out of jail. He walks into the woods and leads right to a pile of bones that is half-assed buried, and it's Anastasia. It's just so fucking heartbreaking. Why did that have to happen?
Worst.
So Anastasia was found in the shallow grave, and her hand was even sticking out. Like what is why did this even have to happen
They didn't
to this
even
poor
try.
girl?
Yeah.
So Larson said this whole plot was set up by Indle way in advance. Anastasia, wanted out. So Indle kind of bribed Daniel by giving him somewhere to live because he's a fucking sexual molester.
Right.
Indle had this plan in place. He was got a video camera just to film all these happy, lovey moments. But since he's a psychopath and doesn't know what a lovey, normal, non-awkward moment looks like, it's filled with these awkward, horrible, rapist-looking moments with Anastasia. And horrible kisses where he's trying to kiss her on the mouth, and he's kissing her on her chin. And she looks like she wants to die because pushing him off.
Yeah.
So she is on the police find out, Anastasia was on the flight from Moscow. She did land with him
Finally,
in Chicago
all the
or in
shit
Seattle.
comes back, and you're like, oh.
And they realize she did go home with Indle. But that was the night Indle murdered her. Indle had Anastasia go into the garage, they think, for some reason, where Daniel, the child molester, was hiding.
Yeah.
Indle then grabbed Anastasia somehow, and it was either Daniel that then grabbed her or choked her.
Yes.
And then Daniel grabbed a necktie,
They
I think.
said he grabbed a tie.
Yeah, and then strangled her.
Indle held her down.
Yeah,
and
they strangled her. And then they went to bury her. Absolute fucking monsters. Yeah. Monsters. Yep. If he already looked for another bride, just let this one go. What's the point?
Right.
What is the point? I just... So, of course, both these fucking hobbits get arrested. Indle King got 29 years. He was guilty immediately because he's an idiot. And then
the other guy
Daniel got 32.
Yeah.
Because he, I guess,
he actually did the necktie.
And the jury was quick as hell. They were like, get these two fuckers out of here.
Right.
Just absolute nonsense. Nonsense from hobbits. Absolute dicks. It just... These men. These absolutely horrible men.
I know.
I don't know what to do with them.
Well, they're in jail.
I guess. But why do we have all these men that do this again and again and again and again and again and again?
Because, again, it's the bear or the man, right?
Know.
We all say the bear. No one believes us. They say, yeah, right, you'd really pick a man. And we're like, no, we wouldn't.
Yeah, because the bear at least maybe would kill me right away. The man would at least...
Right.
When bear wouldn't rape the shit out of me and torture me and tell bad jokes and then kill me.
Yeah, right.
Or it could maybe scare the bear away.
You could. Like, remember on Parent Trap?
Yeah.
When she was hitting the sticks together?
Yeah,
trying to scare the bear away. Yeah. We could try that.
Exactly.
It wouldn't fucking scare a man away. They'd be like, sticks? You're playing...
He would just take its wang out and swing it around.
Sounds like a song of love. Yeah. You want my wang?
Yep.
We'd be like, no,
and
we
then
don't.
rape the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Nope.
No, Indle.
I don't want the wang of love. Your wang of love.
No, just pull your arms and your legs in, and I'll just
roll
push you
away.
And you roll
down
away,
the hill.
Indle. Just roll away.
Bear. Pick the bear. Just like that Twitter I saw where it said every woman has a horrible story
Yes.
about a man. Every single woman has an awkward encounter or horrible
100%.
encounter with a man, and that is absolutely 100%.
Yeah.
Every woman.
Yep.
Awful.
We do.
Anywho,
And that's why we have this podcast.
yes.
So that we can rip on them.
Rip their from anus
Noise.
to front.
Yep.
Their noise.
Dicks.
Yep.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Again, we have a book club on
Yeah.
8/27 at
27.
7:30 Central Standard Time. Next month is The Family Upstairs. Please.
That was a good one because it was.
Yes.
I didn't know where it was going.
I know. I liked it for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk about it, about both of these books.
I know.
And also, yeah, if you get a wild hair up your ass, give us a rating or a
Yeah.
review and share us with your friends. We appreciate
And you can
it.
text the podcast if
Oh
you
my
have
God, you
Apple. You can
can.
text us. We like to get little messages.
We like the messages. We
Yeah.
still can't really figure out how to write.
We don't write back. I don't
back,
think you can write back, but we can
they're
get
so
your
cute
message.
when it says like, you got a message.
Yeah.
I like it. So thanks for listening. You guys are the best. All right. Bye.